COVID-19 has created a massive humanitarian challenge. Millions ill and hundreds of thousands of lives lost. Soaring unemployment rates in the world's most robust economies. Food banks stretched beyond capacity. Governments straining to deliver critical services. The pandemic is also a challenge for businesses like any have ever faced, forcing an abrupt dislocation of how employees work, how customers behave, how supply chains function, and even that what ultimately constitutes business performance. Good morning, everyone, from wherever you are. Thank you for joining Valoris Business Academy webinars. And most importantly, hope you are all safe with your families. I'm Dana Shaheen, Valoris Group Chief Business and Modeling Officer, experienced in data science and modeling. I'll be moderating and sharing the message across our speakers, Sarkis Mazraani and Ziad Firs. Sarkis Mazraani is certified from ACAMS and Grant Thornton and has an experience for more than 20 years in banking, finance, regulatory, technology, and training. Ziad Firs is Valoris Group International Business Development Director, experienced in compliance and digital transformation. This webinar will be recorded and posted on Valoris website for our valued guests who would want to revisit it going forward. I'm sure a lot of you have questions, so you can submit them during the talk by clicking on the Q&A button below, and I will relay them as much as we can to our panelists at the end of the webinar. Before tackling our agenda's topics with you, a quick introduction on Valoris, 30 years in 30 seconds. Valoris was founded in Lille, northern France, and now operating all around the globe. We deliver to multiple lines of business: banking, insurance, retail and merchandising, supply chain optimization, digital government, multimedia communication, and healthcare. Confronting this unique moment, CEOs have shifted how they lead in expedient and ingenious ways. The changes may have been birthed of necessity, but they have great potential beyond this crisis. Being in a fast strategy was the key to change history. And even back to David and Goliath, David took over Goliath by his fast move. So why copy and accelerate our main subject today? Think digital and move fast instead of think big and start small. Why Google and not Microsoft? Because Google moved fast on delivering the search engine. Why Tesla and not Mercedes? Because Tesla moved fast on delivering the energy transformation. Why PayPal and not Visa? Because PayPal moved fast on delivering the payment transformation. This pandemic imposed new industry challenges, new competitive threats, increasing cost pressures, and accentuated regulatory policies. Institutions, governments, and businesses need to move fast to shine in a new digital reality. Many trends already underway are created in the global digital economy. Businesses need to act fast on their roadmap to survive. Let's explore how to keep the pace. To you, Ziad.
Thank you, Dana. Good morning, everyone. Well, as businesses step into the post-coronavirus future, they need to find a balance between what worked before and what needs to happen to succeed in the next normal. What's next? That is the question everyone is asking. The future is not what we thought it would be, only a few short months ago. If we look at the digital drumbeat, the pace of change is very high. But just saying you have to move fast isn't enough if you don't know what fast means. When we look at organizations and governments that successfully navigated major digital transformations, we find that their most important aspects are their speed first, then their strong alignment and commitment across the organization, and third, the clarity around the transformation strategy. Isn't it, Dana?
Indeed, Ziad. Today's questions are, can governments move fast and make access to digital government services seamless? Can financial services move fast and embrace an accessible, more secure, and more competitive business model? Isn't it, Sarkis?
You're exactly right, Dana and Ziad. Companies definitely need to move faster and be bolder. That means repositioning themselves on the chessboard. So first, you need to make sure there are still chairs for you. And second, move faster toward your objective. So it's not only about moving faster, but also sometimes moving first. Before COVID, there were differences between strategies and being a fast follower versus being a first mover strategy. Today, being a first mover or extremely fast follower is starting to have significant economic benefits. And I would like to get your opinions here.
Indeed, Sarkis. And part of the reason is the rate at which organizations can learn with digital. In the past, it was often 6 months after the product launch that you would do the post-mortem to understand what was working and what was not. Now, you can have iterations in 3 days. This causes a rapid divergence, don't you think, Dana?
So true, Ziad. And today's agenda is emphasizing the following cases. Think digital and move fast in business. Think digital and move fast in government. Think digital and move fast in payments to arrive to think digital and move fast in education. Let us move to our first case with think digital and move fast in business. The age of digital transformation has arrived, and moving fast is the key. So when we think about moving fast, one brand truly stands out, and that is Tesla. Elon Musk's brainchild is a pioneer in electric cars. He's now pushing ahead with driverless cars. COVID-19 introduced new challenges which gave birth to a notion of digital transformation opportunities, a new digital reality. The secret, though, lies in moving fast through the digital transformation and be bold enough to position ourselves as category killers in our industry. So, Sarkis, what's your take on Elon Musk's diversification in the business spectrum?
Well, Dana, speaking about Elon Musk, he did confound PayPal. He founded SpaceX. He revolutionized the electric car industry. He landed $1 billion contract with NASA, launched the Falcon 9 rocket, acquired SolarCity, among many other ventures on the news headlines. Musk companies have a major theme, vision and fast moving. They are set on pushing boundaries. In fact, this innovative concept has practically become synonym with Musk's name. Let's look at how fast his different businesses are disrupting their corresponding industries. Let's take SpaceX, for example. SpaceX launches offering lower priced transport into space. In terms of telecommunication, offering lower priced service worldwide in terms of satellite internet, putting more satellites into space cheaper. Ziad, what do you think?
Well, Sarkis, Elon Musk is a good example of think digital and move fast. He's a role model of moving fast. You know, he's the talk of the town, and he's a man of many talents. While some may know him as the face behind Tesla and leading automotive company, others recognize him for his ambitious pursuits to colonize Mars. When it comes to Tesla, well, I wonder what will the roads look like when our children take the wheel, the joystick, or even the backseat. That makes us dream, for sure. Tesla, as a matter of fact, disrupted automobiles, building the best, lowest cost electric vehicle. It disrupted personal transport, eliminating the need for car ownership entirely. Tesla disrupted solar energy, increasing access with the Powerwall and solar roof. It disrupted fossil fuels, maximizing efficiency of the solar panels. Tesla disrupted car sharing, making idle Tesla cars available via app. Another company is OpenAI, and it disrupted AI and machine learning, owning the best AI system in the world. It disrupted competitive gaming, producing better than human AIs. I think there's some more, Dana.
Indeed, Ziad. We also have the Boring Company, Hyperloop, that disrupted by reducing cost of tunneling through the ground, building more efficient transportation infrastructure, increasing range people that can live from their place of work, and of course, reducing freight cost by a magnitude. In addition, we have Neuralinks that disrupted by reducing cost of effective processes by magnitude, treating serious illness with simple injection, even allowing enhancements of human capabilities in military, and finally, having a better modeling of brain-machine interaction. So Ziad, what can we say about Elon Musk business?
Well, over the years, Dana, Elon Musk, the ambitious entrepreneur, has had lots of irons in the fire and has led multiple noteworthy ventures. Musk is in a restless pursuit of pioneering technology, groundbreaking innovations, and sustainable developments. Indeed, he has achieved a fleet of accomplishments on his way to the top. And that is because he thinks digital and moves fast. To you, Dana.
Thank you, Ziad. Well, after reviewing with you the business case, we are going to move to think digital and move fast in government. Digital transformation provides governments with income opportunities for value creation. From delivering digital services to developing Singapore into a smart nation, GovTech advocates innovative technology to shape the way business is done in the government. From across the government technology organization, Singapore picked out a bunch of technologists. Their concept was think digital and move fast. Think digital because they wanted the program to ultimately become a digital transformation of the entire government. But rather than spending years planning, they needed to just act quickly and prove credibility. And by identifying specific problems and building directly against those, they started delivering things very quickly. So Ziad, what is the example to give in this case?
Well, Dana, Singapore's concept is definitely think digital and move fast. How can a public service group like the Singapore government become agile, entrepreneurial? Well, that is through building credibility. In fact, the reason government IT is rarely willing to innovate and fail fast is because the stakes are high while using taxpayers' money. So rather than the $50 million and 3 years that a classic public sector IT project would be, they gave themselves a few $100,000 and 6 to 9 months. Once that became a reality, the public service colleagues started to take notice. Their credibility was built, and eventually people wanted more. That was because the project they delivered on were impactful. They did benefit the citizen directly and very quickly. Using that momentum, they created a new internal organization, something akin to a captive startup or software factory that they call the Hive. Distinct from the core GovTech Singapore group, the Hive team was given a lot of freedom to innovate, try new things, and essentially fail fast. Any other thoughts, Sarkis?
Well, Ziad, it's about building credibility, then mixing it up. Hive's agenda, they brought in people from all kinds of backgrounds. Designers, Agile and Scrum masters, data scientists, geospatial experts. They have got their CTO from DreamWorks. They brought in a whole bunch of game developers from Ubisoft, Blizzard and King. Well, director of engineering for IoT came from Apple, and he brought in lots of similar people. The guys in this community are very innovative and really passionate about what they do. That was the inflection point for their growth. Today, they have more than 300 people, and the demand for their services is probably 5 or 6 times the supply they have. To you, Dana?
So true, Sarkis. Singapore's fast digital transformation will add an estimated $10 billion to Singapore's GDP and increase the growth rate by 0.6% annually. So 10% of Singapore's GDP is derived from digital products and of digital technologies such as mobility, cloud, Internet of Things, and of course, artificial intelligence. Isn't it, Ziad?
Well, Dana, Singapore and countries like Qatar are clearly on the digital transformation fast track. By 2021, they expect to see approximately 60% of Singapore's GDP to be derived from digital products and services. Digital transformation in Singapore will ultimately benefit citizens. So according to business leaders, digital transformation will bring about, let's say, these top 3 benefits to society. First, the increased educational and training opportunities. Second, the creation of higher value jobs. And third, potential increment to personal income through freelance and digital work. Singapore and Qatar feel that most of the jobs will be transformed in the next years due to digital transformation. Jobs in today's market will be redeployed to higher value roles or even reskilled to meet the needs of the digital age. Don't you think, Sarkis?
Well, Ziad, the rise of digital transformation in Singapore and Qatar will affect, in my opinion, the labor market indeed, where many types of jobs will evolve and change. This will definitely happen. Governments and organizations still focus on reskilling and upskilling because continuous learning will be important in ensuring a successful workforce transformation for the digital age, in my opinion. Now I leave it to you, Dana.
Thank you. Arrive to the case of Think Digital and Move Fast in payment. In recent years, electronic payments have been one of the fastest areas of growth in payment services. The crisis accelerated this growth. The technology exists, and consumer and merchant understanding and adoption has significantly increased. We need to have a fast move to digital payments in this particular unique time.
Dana, both in this case, Think Digital and Move Fast in government is important. People without accounts and online wallets are having to queue to receive welfare payments, putting them at greater risk of exposure to the virus. So moving away from cash affects unbanked citizens disproportionately. So merchants without access to digital payments are losing out as remote buying is increasing. It is likely, Dana, that the increase in online shopping will persist after the crisis, especially for retailers that make significant investments to retool their business model. Where banks and payments operators continue to build omni-channel payment solutions while building infrastructure and ecosystems to operate actively. So businesses that provide viable options for integrated and contactless payments to both customers and merchants are likely to emerge from the crisis stronger, Dana. And demand for digital tools and technology that enable merchants and consumers to connect is also likely to continue to grow. And I would like to get the opinion of Ziad about that.
In fact, Sarkis, COVID-19 changed and will continue to change life and business as we know it. Digital payment transformation has already started, but COVID-19 imposed an acceleration and an obligation to go way faster than the normal process. We are in front of a migration from cash transactions to cashless or digital transactions. And that is definitely influenced by physical distancing. Although the initial reflex at the beginning of the crisis was to withdraw cash, customers want to execute more electronic payments during the crisis. What's your call out, Dana, on this?
Back to your point, Ziad, in the immediate term, the pandemic is accelerating the pace of businesses and consumers migrating to alternative payment methods, setting up the industry for increased growth coming out of the crisis. New technologies facilitate the delivery of new. They can also be applied to existing payment product access channels in a variety of combinations, like the initiation of card payments via electronic and leveraging contactless technologies.
Indeed, Dana, contactless technologies are instrumental to the provision of electronic wallets. They facilitate the acceptance of payment instruments at the point of sale. Their key characteristic is the transmission of payment information from a physical device without the need for physical contact. Relatively speaking, digital commerce is booming. Adoption of online ordering of groceries, restaurant takeout, health supplies, and other goods have increased dramatically. And this is not limited, by the way, to those who are already tech savvy. Older generations are even embracing mobile purchasing out of necessity. Restaurants, local merchants, and others are adding remote commerce options, seemingly. Regulators and government and granting exemptions to what was a physical transaction only. On the other hand, consumers are expressing a broad desire for contactless payment in store, following the advice from health professionals, and even from companies such as Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, and other wallet apps. Conversely, the use of cash is declining to reduce physical interactions with paper money and cashiers. So let us take Apple Pay as an example. For their fast push they provided for the online transactions to reach new customers. The question is why Apple Pay is considered a key point in its evolution. With the recent expansion of Apple Pay, the customer have now an access to a secure payment using a one-click payment capability, a fingerprint authentication, a faster payment process than the standard card information input. And even it's faster than PayPal, since it will not be redirecting the buyers to PayPal's authentication site. So ultimately, Apple Pay up to become an in-store, online and mobile payment capital. Dana?
Thank you, Ziad. As for the case of the education, COVID-19 pandemic has forced a digital shift in the education, media, and communication sectors to re-examine the way they do things to allow a continuity in the day-to-day life during lockdown. Could the move to online learning be the catalyst to create a new, more effective method of educating students? So, Sarkis, how would you reimagine learning?
Dana, this is an important case to speak about. At my family, we were wondering how our 3 children are going to attain their academic program at school within the crisis of COVID. Well, when learning from home, not all students have equal time or space to focus on digital classroom. Digital recovery, Dana, will rotate around adapting to the norm where the classroom will be everywhere. So schools will rethink the digital capacity, in my opinion, on how they can better support families by, let's say, pivoting to online learning and digital classroom. I think also utilizing technology in support of remote learning, distance education, and online learning. Also, it might be an option, the use of educational technologies at scale in response to disease outbreaks. Another option might be quickly providing access to digital learning content from multiple sources. So I can tell you the rapid migration to digital technologies driven by the pandemic will continue into the recovery, in my opinion. So let's figure out with Ziad how to accelerate the digital capabilities and to keep the pace.
In fact, Sarkis, digital transformation is definitely trending in the education sector, especially with COVID-19. And that's helping to keep schools and students safer and more connected. We're also seeing a greater emphasis on things like digital credentialing through blockchain and two-factor authentication to ensure that all students are kept safe wherever they may be accessing the content that fits their needs. Distance learning will continue to evolve, and technology and tools will help to enable that. The world is becoming a place where we need to be fast in learning in many fields. Schools and education must change in a fast pace to hold the new learning styles and technologies while concurrently preserving the integrity of the knowledge we used to achieve through. Investments in digital transformation, when the decision comes from careful observation and data analytics, can be the means by which a school breaks free of its past and becomes the educational institution of the future. Isn't it, Dana?
Certainly, Ziad. With the digital age that is moving faster than ever, education needs to set up for the scalable capabilities to remain sustainable. So, by moving towards the digital thinking, schools meet the demands, expectations of their students and staff accordingly. So, finally, COVID-19 has brought with it a pressurized operating environment, the likes of which few of today's CEOs have ever experienced. It has necessitated a reappraisal of how much is possible and in what time frames. It has forced personal disclosure at levels previously considered uncomfortable, and in doing so, has increased awareness of the importance of how leaders show up personally. It has shined a light on the interconnectivity of fast decisions and rebuilding dynamically for all digital-ready organizations and fast execution. From David and Goliath to Tesla during lifetime, the only strategy to win is to move fast. Thank you for holding your breath with us to reach our conclusion for this heavy webinar. Think big and start small is no more in our business dictionary, but think digital and move fast is the new coming standard of success and delivery. As we mentioned, Ziad, in our introduction, and the best example of today's market is with Elon Musk.
Well, Dana, as we continue to evolve in the digital age of lightning speed change, we're expanding in new directions and experimenting with new ideas. You're going to move fast, but at least make sure you know where you are heading. We need to reinvent ourselves, bringing together the best of human-centered design, data science, agile technology, and development to better serve clients. Leaders moving fast are at a faster pace on decision-making. They access customer data and preferences monthly, if not weekly, or even daily, to inform their next product release or redesign experience. They constantly evaluate their portfolios when most organizations do that only probably during annual planning. So banks need to move fast and accelerate transitioning to remote sales and service teams. They need to refine digital outreach to customers to make flexible payment arrangements for loans and mortgages. Insurers need to move fast on their strategic agendas and shift from core transformation to digital transformation. Payment service providers need to move fast as well, as the technology exists, but financial institutions need to the high demand coming from consumers and merchants. Governments fast on digital technologies to make rapid policy decisions, and that is based on real-time data, and that is to enhance the capacities of local authorities for better coordination and deploy evidence-based services to citizens. Isn't that in line with Qatar and Apple?
Indeed, Ziad. We inspire from Elon Musk, Singapore, and Apple Pay is key to build up the groundwork for a digital future and determine where we are now, where we need to go, and how fast we need to get there. We need to assess our digital and analytics maturity across our culture, strategy, and capabilities, and determine how they impact the bottom line, Ziad. Technology is not the issue, in my opinion. Many companies believe they are held hostage to their technical environment. Digital strategy and culture are more important than our technical environment. What is needed, in my opinion, Ziad, is a bold vision and a change in mentality to transform a business, move fast, and maintain a good performance.
That's true.
To you, Dana.
Thank you, Sarkis. Well, we really went through an exhaustive list of examples showing us the why behind taking the decision of moving fast based on the digital platform. As promised, we will now move to the questions. Thank you for sharing them with us today. Okay, time check. I think we'll select a couple of them. I can see questions around digital strategies, new economics of digital. Okay, let's start with the first question. I think it falls under your wings, Ziad. You talked about digital strategies. What are the reasons digital strategies fail?
So let me understand. It's well, the obvious reasons why strategies fails. Correct?
Correct.
Well, Dana, let's look into really known about disruption. First, it's not new. It's been happening for centuries. So prior to digital, incumbents typically experienced a survival rate of less than maybe 20% during extreme disruptions. So if you ask organization on how well prepared they feel to navigate the current change, well, most of them don't feel their current business model would be economically viable as digitization progresses. Now, if you ask 10 companies how they define digital, you'll probably get 10 different answers. Digital needs to be defined in two dimensions, economic and operational. Today, you can have instant and perfect replication of intellectual property, such as software, host of economic implications for the old school rules about value, profit, and...
If I may, Ziad, it's important to recognize that our economies are driven by supply and demand curves. Very few organizations take the time to understand and map out the economic impact of digital on their supply and demand curves and the implications those have for substitute and complementary products. As a result, they are surprised when the ecosystem in which they compete suddenly starts to evolve very rapidly. So I will take one more question for today. This one is related to the economics of digital. Ziad, please allow me to answer this question.
With pleasure, Dana.
Thank you. Can you elaborate on the way the new economics of digital are changing the competitive landscape for incumbent companies? So if you want to rephrase the question regarding how we should know to follow the new economics of digital and how this will impact the competitive landscape for incumbent companies, many organizations have spent decades understanding how to make trade-offs in their businesses, where the profit pools are and the structure of the value chains. So digital changes all that. First, on an changing level, digital currently destroys more economic value for incumbents than it creates. There are two main drivers. The first one is that digital creates transparency that allows a much higher percentage of value to be transferred to customers than happened in the past. Let's take an example. Digital marketplaces create price transparency and bundling, which protects margins in many industries, which is being undone by companies like Amazon. So they are also commoditizing products and services. This is a huge shift in the way value is between companies and end users.
If I may, Dana, the second big for this value destruction is the consolidation of value pools. So new digital offerings are often much more integrated. So think of smartphones. They not only replace the old phones, but the camera, the navigation device, the music player, the video game console, or even TV in certain circumstances. If you add up the cost of all those devices, smartphones, expensive as some may be, are a lot cheaper than those individual items. So the digital value pools are smaller than the original pools. And these transfers are sometimes quite abrupt.
Thank you, Ziad. Thank you. Well, we arrived to the end of our webinar. We hope that we were able to answer your inquiries. Looking forward to see you again, and stay safe.